This is another sign of the times, an analysis and a commentary. United States militarization and the culture of violence. Beyond the spectacle of the presidential race, the Washington consensus pursues business as usual. This is a season in which we wonder, with an ever-intensifying sense of urgency, what it would take to turn our political system into a real democracy. And yet, the militarization of the United States and the strengthening of the national security complex continues to accelerate. The Pentagon is, by now, a world unto itself, and every 82 minutes the Pentagon spends some $3 billion. This is clearly unsustainable, and as the world's major players play a 21st century version of the great game to control the resources of the world, the United States, in contrast with China, writes David Vine, has focused relentlessly on military might as its global trump card, dotting the planet with new bases and other forms of military power. We're a hyper-militarized global empire, dominating, if not quite ruling, a word, after all, that implies order and stability, a large swath of the world by brute physical as well as economic force. This is not a debated issue, simply what we do, or rather, what unelected decision-makers do in their name, and will continue to do. We go to war, or the equivalent of war, whenever and wherever we feel like it, killing civilians, destabilizing societies, waving a red flag. And so goes the culture of violence in the movies, in the video games, on TV, in the news, everywhere we look, which contaminates or pollutes everything else. Yes, everything is connected, and everything is numbered. Tom Engelhardt, in his essay on the failure of the military option, summarizes the disastrous consequences we've inflicted on much of the world just since 2001 in our ill-considered interventions and globalized pursuit of manifest destiny. We've created chaos, inspired deep hatred, and often undercut our own interests pretty much everywhere we've swaggered, including Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Yemen, Bahrain, Syria, Somalia, Egypt, and Libya. Yet none of its failures have given the U.S. military the least pause in throwing its muscle around somewhere else or building new bases. In his 2007 book, Nemesis, The Last Days of the American Republic, the late Chalmers Johnson noted, if there were an honest count, the actual size of our military empire would probably top 1,000 different bases overseas, but no one, possibly not even the Pentagon, knows the exact number for sure. He added, America's version of the colony is a military base, and this is a very costly undertaking. Decisions that further the reach of the American empire have no public resonance. They're simply made and implemented, altering the world, perpetuating global tensions, and destroying lives, while the American public and the corporate media, accepting their powerlessness, distract themselves with trivia. This is geopolitics, a collision and collusion of impersonal forces, as removed from ordinary humanity as gravity. The best we can do is live our lives around it, right? Feelings don't enter into it, beyond the cries of the wounded and the survivors, and the occasional meaningless apology of one government to another. The collateral damage was regrettable. This is the game of history, so they say. The relentless grind and push of nations against each other, The large and powerful remain in a state of wary respect toward one another, in alliance or competition. The weak become compliant satellites of the United States, or defiant outcasts, ripe for occupation. Beyond these categories are the discarded, completely failed entities like Somalia, Ethiopia, Mali, where utterly poor and miserable people live. And this is the world over which we seemingly have no influence. Theoretically, democracy gives all citizens some power in the realm of geopolitics, and whether our country behaves as an empire, brutally and clumsily asserting its influence around the world, or displays a new and unprecedented sort of leadership, recognizing the sanctity of life and the wholeness of the planet. Some would say this sounds naive to the point of absurdity, especially because what we're really talking about is power, the power to disarm an empire, the power to redefine the nation's interests, the power to bring compassion, synonymous with sanity, to the realm of geopolitics. Who are we kidding? We urgently need to make compassion a clear, luminous, and dynamic force in our polarized world, rooted in a principled determination to transcend selfishness. Compassion can break down political, dogmatic, ideological, and religious boundaries. Born of our deep interdependence, compassion is essential to human relationships and to a fulfilled humanity. It is the path to enlightenment and indispensable to the creation of a just economy and a peaceful global community. So reads the Charter for Compassion, one of many global cries for a new way of being, which includes a new, demilitarized geopolitics. This can happen only if democracy becomes, once again, a force of history. In other words, it's time to end the culture of violence. And this, too, is another sign of the end of times, as we know them, transition days, which is a time of extraordinary happenings, changes, and events. Everything that must change quickly or rapidly, and for the better, because it's about what kind of world are we leaving to the future generations. And that should be a very important question to ask. Isaiah chapter 45, verse 5. I am the Lord, and there is no other. Apart from me, there is no God. I will strengthen you, though you have not acknowledged me. 6. So that from the rising of the sun to the place of its setting, humans may know there is none besides me. I am the Lord, and there is no other. 7. I form the light and create darkness. I bring prosperity and create disaster. I, the Lord, do all these things. 8. You heavens above, rain down righteousness. Let the clouds shower it down. Let the earth open wide. Let salvation spring up. Let righteousness grow with it. I, the Lord, have created it. 9. Woe to him who quarrels with his maker, to him who is but a potsherd among the potsherds on the ground. Does the clay say to the potter, what are you making? Does your work say, he has no hands? 10. Woe to him who says to his father, what have you begotten? Or to his mother, what have you brought to birth? Matthew chapter 24, verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. 8. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Revelation chapter 11, verse 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged. But thou should give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and should destroy them which destroy the earth. 19. And the temple of God was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament, and there were lightnings, and voices, and thunderings, and an earthquake, and great hail. Revelation chapter 16, verse 8. And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch humans with fire. 9. And humans were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of God, which has power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory. 10. And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom or nation was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain. 11. And blasphemed the God of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. Yes, it's time for the spiritual and physical manifestation of the book of Revelation, and all these are more signs.